Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, I'm glad you clicked on this video because trust me, today we're diving into something that every Manchester United fan should care about. And before you roll your eyes, no, it's not just another match reaction or tactical debate. We are talking money, cold hard cash, the kind of stuff that actually shapes what happens on the pitch. So let me throw this question at you right at the start. Would you rather have a football club that wins trophies or a football club that tops the financial charts? Because apparently, Manchester United right now is trying to convince us we can't have both. United just announced record-breaking revenue, 666.5 million, the highest ever in the club's history. Sounds amazing, right? Cue the confetti. But then you read the next line. They also reported a 33 million net loss. Yeah, you heard that right. We made more money than ever before and still managed to lose money. And this is why I'm fired up. Because this isn't just an accounting line buried in some report. This is the reality of where United stands as a club. On one hand, we are still a global powerhouse, arguably the biggest football brand on the planet. On the other hand, on the pitch, we are struggling, and financially, we are still not where we need to be. So today, we are going to break this down, where the money came from, where it went, why this record number doesn't actually feel that impressive, and what it means for us fans going forward. Now, I promise I won't make this sound like some boring lecture. I am not going to sit here reading balance sheets like an accountant. I'm going to talk to you like a mate at the pub. Imagine we are having a pint and I'm trying to explain why your favorite club just bragged about making history, but still feels like it's miles behind Manchester City, Arsenal, or even Newcastle United right now. So let's kick this off with the headline, 666.5 million revenue. That's a monster number. It's a new club record. It's up 0.7% compared to last year. And it shows that despite all the chaos on the pitch, despite disappointing league finishes, despite missing the Champions League in some seasons, Manchester United still has ridiculous commercial strength. We are still selling shirts, we are still packing Old Trafford, we are still signing sponsorship deals that make other clubs jealous. But then comes the reality check. The club also reported a 33 million net loss. How do you make over £500 million and still lose money? That's like winning the lottery and still ending up broke because you bought 5 houses, 3 cars, and a giraffe for your garden. The reason is simple. United spends a lot. Wages, transfer amortization, special costs like restructuring it, all adds up. And even though some costs went down this year, like overall wages being reduced by around 51.5 million. Thanks to missing Champions League bonuses and trimming staff, the spending is still massive. So, let's break it down into categories, because this is where it gets interesting. United's revenue comes from 3 main sources: commercial income, matchday income, and broadcasting income. And the story of each category tells you a lot about the club. First up, commercial income. This is where United are absolute kings. Last season, we pulled in 333 million from commercial deals. That's a 10% rise compared to the year before. And it's no surprise, because even if the team is struggling, the brand of Manchester United remains iconic worldwide. Sponsors still want their logo on the shirts, still want to be associated with the club. Adidas, TeamViewer, countless others. These deals are the engine that keeps the club's finances running. You could argue that United are the Kardashians of football. The performance doesn't always match the hype, but the commercial machine keeps printing money. Next, matchday income. This is another strength for United. 160 million came from ticket sales, hospitality, merchandise, on match days, you name it. That's up 17%. Why? Because Old Trafford is still full game after game. And this is what blows my mind. The fans, the loyal supporters, even after years of disappointment, are still turning up in their tens of thousands, still singing, still creating one of the best atmospheres in football. You could argue that it's the fans who are keeping this club alive, both spiritually and financially. And then, broadcasting income, and here's where the cracks show. Broadcasting revenue went down. Why? Because United weren't in the Champions League. It's as simple as that. The Premier League pays well, but without European football, especially without Champions League nights, the TV money takes a big hit. And that's where it hurts, because those are tens of millions of pounds that just vanish. And this is exactly why missing out on the top 4 isn't just about pride or bragging rights. It has a very real financial cost. So let's connect the dots here. Commercial and match day are saving United's financial numbers. The brand and the fans are pulling their weight. But the team, the results, the actual football, that's dragging everything down. And isn't that the most United thing ever? The off-pitch side is booming, while on the pitch, we are constantly underperforming. Now, you might be wondering, okay, if revenue is up, why the loss? The answer is in the spending side. Let's talk about transfer amortization. That's basically the way clubs account for transfer fees. When United spends 80 million on a player, that cost doesn't hit the books all at once. It's spread out over the length of the contract. But even though it's spread out, those numbers pile up because we've been spending huge amounts on players who don't always deliver. Combine that with massive wages. We are talking one of the biggest wage bills in world football. And you can see how even record revenue isn't enough to cover it all. And then there's restructuring costs. With Ineos coming in, with new management reshuffling, with staff being trimmed, there have been extra expenses that hit the bottom line. These aren't permanent costs, but they add to the losses in the short term. Here's a way to think about it. Imagine you got a pay rise at work, but at the same time, your rent went up, your car broke down, and you decided to remodel your kitchen. Yes, you are earning more, but you are still ending the month in the red. That's United right now. And this brings us to Ineos, Jim Ratcliffe, and the new structure. One of the positives in this financial report is that costs are actually being brought down in some areas. Like I mentioned, the wage bill dropped by 51.5 million. That's huge. It shows that United are trying to be smarter, trying to be more efficient, and trying to comply with financial fair play rules. Because, let's be honest, if UEFA decided to really go after us the way they went after City or Chelsea, we'd be in trouble. So Ratcliffe and his team are making the tough decisions, cutting staff, streamlining contracts, being a bit more ruthless. But here's the part that really matters. None of this means anything if the money doesn't translate into success on the pitch. And that's why so many fans are frustrated. You see a headline saying, Manchester United achieves record revenue, and you think, great, maybe this means we can finally invest properly in the squad. Maybe this means we'll actually compete with City again. But then you remember the reality. We are still in debt. We are still paying for past mistakes. And the money isn't necessarily going straight into transfers. And this is where the emotions come in. Because as a fan, it's hard to be proud of record revenue when you just watch your team lose 3-0 in the Manchester derby. It's hard to celebrate 666 million when you are questioning whether the manager is even the right guy for the job. The disconnect between the boardroom and the pitch has never felt bigger. So now that we've laid out the numbers, let's talk about what they actually mean. Because numbers on their own don't play football, right? They don't score goals, they don't make tackles, they don't bring trophies back to Old Trafford, but they do shape the possibilities. And right now, United's possibilities are complicated. Let's start with the emotional side, because honestly, that's what matters to us as fans. When you hear record revenue, there's a little part of you that goes, well, at least we are still massive. At least we are not falling apart financially, like some clubs have in the past. But then there's the bigger part of you that goes, Hang on a second, what's the point of all this money if we are not seeing it reflected on the pitch? And that's where the frustration kicks in. Because football is not a balance sheet game, fans don't chant revenue figures in the stands. Imagine going to Old Trafford and singing £666 million. Doesn't really work, does it? What fans want is passion, effort, and ultimately, success. And when those things don't come, all the money in the world feels meaningless. And this is where comparisons to rivals sting the most. Take Arsenal. For years, they were mocked for being penny pinchers, for being cautious with their spending. But look at them now. They've invested carefully. They've built a young, hungry squad, and they're back in the Champions League. Their revenue isn't anywhere near United's level, but right now, their fans are probably a lot happier. Then there's recruitment. United's transfer spending over the last decade has been astronomical. We've thrown money at big-name signings. Many signings didn't work, like Anthony and Andre Onana. And because of that, the wage bill ballooned. Players on huge contracts hard to shift when things go wrong, and that ties up funds that could be used elsewhere. So when you see that 33 million net loss, it's not just an accident. It's the result of years of inefficiency, years of mismanagement, and that's why fans are skeptical when they hear record revenue. Because we've been here before. We've seen the club boast about financial success and then seen mediocrity on the pitch. Now, let's look ahead. Because the club themselves have already issued a warning. Next season, revenue is projected to drop to between 640 million and 660 million. That's lower than this season's record. And why? Because there's no Champions League football. This is the vicious cycle United are stuck in. Poor results lead to missing out on Europe's top competition, which means less revenue, which means more financial pressure, which means less freedom in the transfer market, and then poor results again. It's like Groundhog Day, but with more VAR decisions going against us. This is why, for me, this financial report is both impressive and depressing at the same time. Impressive because, let's face it, generating 666.5 million in revenue is huge. It proves the size of the club. It proves the loyalty of the fans. It proves the strength of the brand, but depressing because it feels disconnected from what really matters, winning football matches. And here's the part that really bothers me. Other clubs look at United and learn from our mistakes. Arsenal saw how not to overpay players. Even Chelsea, for all their chaos, at least try something new with their long contract strategy. Meanwhile, United keep repeating the same errors. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the role of the fans in all this. Because let's be real, without the fans, those record numbers don't exist. 160 million in matchday revenue doesn't happen if Old Trafford isn't full every week. 333 million in commercial income doesn't happen if millions of fans around the world aren't buying shirts, tuning into games, and keeping United relevant. The fans are literally propping this club up. And yet, how often do the fans feel listened to? How often do the fans feel rewarded for their loyalty? It's like being in a relationship where you keep giving and giving, but the other person never changes. At some point, you ask, what am I getting out of this? But here's the crazy part. Fans don't actually want much. We don't demand perfection. We don't demand that United win every single game. What we want is effort, progress, and a plan. We want to feel like the people running the club care about the football as much as they care about the finances. Because if they did, this club wouldn't just be breaking revenue records. It would be winning titles again. Now, I don't want to be all doom and gloom, so let's highlight a few positives. First, the club is still financially strong compared to most others. Record revenue means there's potential. If Ineos really gets it right, if recruitment improves, if the money is spent wisely, there's no reason United can't turn this around. Second, The fan base is still behind the team. Yes, there's frustration, but the support is still there, and that's powerful. Finally, football is cyclical. The glory days might feel far away, but no club stays down forever. With the right leadership, United can rise again. But, and it's a big but, it won't happen automatically. Money alone isn't enough. We've learned that the hard way. Is about how you use it, how you invest it, how you balance the business side with the football side. And right now, that balance still feels off. And if nothing changes, if this same model keeps repeating itself, the risks are massive. Let me break them down. Risk 1. Falling further behind rivals. Liverpool and City aren't slowing down. Arsenal are hungry. Even Newcastle United are playing more exciting football. If United keep wasting money, keep making poor recruitment choices, we'll end up in that dreaded big club in name-only category still popular, but irrelevant in title races. Risk 2. Fan disillusionment. And this one's already happening. You talk to fans around the world and you hear the same frustration. I still love United, but it doesn't feel the same. Empty seats aren't happening yet, but patience is running thin. People aren't going to keep pouring money into a club that doesn't respect their passion forever. Risk 3. Brand decline. Yes, United are huge globally, but football is brutal. Kids growing up in the last 10 years have seen City win everything, not United. They've seen Liverpool leave a Champions League, not United. That next generation of fans might not feel the same pull to Old Trafford. If that happens, the commercial juggernaut slows down. So yeah, the risks are real. But here's where I want to switch gears. Because I don't want to leave this as a doom and gloom rant. I want to talk about the lessons United can learn from this situation. Lesson number 1. Stop obsessing over revenue as the main metric of success. Fans don't care about revenue, they care about results. If you focus on football success, the money will follow naturally. City, Bayern, Real Madrid, they're proof. Winning creates revenue, not the other way around. Lesson number 2. Recruitment needs to be smarter, not just more expensive. The days of throwing £80 million at a player just because he's the biggest name have to end. United need to identify players who fit a system, who have the right mentality, who aren't just there for a payday. Lesson number 3. Give the sporting structure actual power. Too often, United have been run like a marketing company with a football team attached that has to flip. Football decisions must be made by football people, not accountants. If Ineos really means business, that's where they have to prove it. So, where does this leave us? Here's my verdict. United's record revenue of $666.5 million is both a badge of honor and a warning sign. It proves that the club is still massive, still relevant, still capable of generating more money than almost anyone else in the game. But it also proves that money alone is not the answer. Because if it was, United would be champions by now. What really matters is what happens next. Will Ineos step up and use this financial muscle to rebuild the football side properly? Will the club learn from years of mistakes and finally create a squad that can compete at the very top? Or will we be sitting here again in 3 years, celebrating another revenue record while watching Liverpool lift another league title? As a fan, I want to believe that this record revenue is the turning point, the moment where business success finally fuels football success. But belief only goes so far. We need to see it on the pitch. We need to see United fighting, improving, and winning again. Until then, all we can do as fans is keep pushing, keep supporting, and keep demanding better. Because Manchester United is not just a business, it's a football club, our football club, and no amount of revenue records can replace that. So yeah, that's where I stand. Record revenue, great, but trophies, that's what we are waiting for. And if you're with me on this, if you're tired of celebrating spreadsheets instead of silverware, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with your fellow Reds. Drop a comment below and tell me what you think. Does this record revenue give you hope, or is it just another distraction? I want to hear from you, because at the end of the day, we are all in this together, through the ups, the downs, the frustration, and hopefully, one day, the celebrations. Glory! Glory Man United, and let's hope the next big headline is about football, not finances.